The problem with you is you're whining like a little fucking baby.
What's going on, Yaz Beaches? Welcome to this episode of Ask Papa Swolio. I'm your host, Papa Swolio. Remember, drop in the comments below with the hashtag Ask Papa Swolio to get your question featured right here on the Gain Train, right here, answered by the Beard himself. And don't forget to check out the Daily Swole podcast so you can join me and all of the wild and crazy fitness and lifestyle antics every single freaking day. So all that detail and all that stuff is in the cards and the description down below. Let's get on with the first question of the Ask Papa Swolio sesh. Today's first question is from Instagram from Muted Blush. When do you think it's best to work out? After a meal, how long after a meal, when to eat after workout, etc. So pretty much everything that has to do with eating and working out. I personally like to work out either on an empty stomach or I'll have a sweet potato half an hour to an hour before. That's just my preference. When it comes to anyone, I think you should figure out what you prefer. Some people like to eat something before, some people don't. If you work out first thing in the morning, you don't have to eat a big meal and you don't have to fast. You can customize that a little bit. In terms of after a workout, it's important to eat, but you don't necessarily have to eat within half an hour or an hour right after. If you feel full or you don't feel hungry or you get nauseous when you eat right after, chances are it's that changeover from the sympathetic to the parasympathetic nervous system, your body reabsorbing blood, your body kind of taking care of housekeeping again, because when you're exercising, all the blood is in your muscles, your body is not focused on digesting. So usually after exercise, there might be this little changeover period when your body has to kind of come back to normal and start tending to things around your body again, like digesting food. So if you eat right after, you might feel nauseous, or if you eat right before and then go exercise, it's knocking around in your stomach. So for me, that works either fasted or with the sweet potato about an hour or so before, especially if I'm doing strength training. Aside from that, I usually love to pound food right after. I have no issue eating a nice meal right after workout, but usually, technically, there's probably about half an hour from when I go to the gym, get home and kind of get everything ready for my day. But usually if I work out earlier in the morning, I'm not going to eat towards the afternoon or evening anyway. So that's just generally my habit. I hope that answers your question. From Laurel on YouTube, how do you feel about the fact that you broke 1,000 hearts with the girlfriend reveal? How do I feel? I feel great. I feel the same exactly before that reveal. Most people that follow my content have known about this, so I just don't talk about it publicly because I don't have to prove my relationship to any of you jabronis. I'm perfectly fine and happy with her. I don't need to be posting pictures and talking about it all the time like so many people on social media. I'm happy with what I have. I like it for me. I'm fine with everyone knowing. It just was a perfect time to really flaunt it for a moment, as you probably saw if you watched that Brittany Dawn video. But aside from that, you can feel however you want. And if I broke a heart, I'm flattered, but there are plenty of other dudes out there. There's about 7.5 billion people on this planet. I'm sure you can find another bearded, long-haired, majestic Papa Swolio. No, but honestly, I'm flattered, but tough shit. Let's go back to Instagram for this next one from Spencer_Peck. Papa Swolio, I read somewhere that you're supposed to have planned burnout exercises. Are we supposed to include in our routines periodic workouts to failure? And if so, what does this do? Planned burnout exercises, a lot of people misinterpret what happens on a small acute level during one workout as opposed to a chronic adaptation over time. It's not so simple that if you lift heavy with less reps, you build muscle, but if you do more reps with less weight, you don't build muscle. You can build muscle and build strength with so many different types of weights, so many different types of exercises, machines, no machines. You can build muscle a lot of different ways. So where people confuse that is that you can do high reps in a workout that is going to build you muscle over the course of your hypertrophy programming, for example. So it's really what you're exposing your body to the most. I personally have seen most of my results when I do failure training, when I do sets until the last possible repetition, when that failure point is within that general hypertrophy weight range where it's 6 to 8 to 10 or so repetitions, maybe even 12 to 15 depending on the set, or it's a drop set and whatnot. But when it comes to building muscle overall, it's that caloric surplus. It's getting enough protein, it's having good nutrients, getting sleep, being consistent, and progressively overloading your body. I've done so many drop sets, I've done so many supersets, I've done so many different training splits There's just so many different ways to get results, especially when you're not just going after strength. When you're going after building muscle, there's a lot of discussion and a lot of, quote, debate, but that's because people respond to exercises differently. And when it comes to building strength, there are general protocols that will build strength the most efficiently for most people. But when it comes to building muscle, you could stimulate muscle growth with high repetitions, with drop sets, supersets, with heavy weight, less reps kind of thing. So burnouts are great. I do not think, for example, that they are for beginners. I don't think you should be doing burnout, like failure sets for every single set, but maybe the last set of your exercise, or when you're just starting to play around with it, start with 1 or 2 burnout sets, maybe at the end of your workout completely, and then build your tolerance and adjust from there. If you're getting crippled sore, you might be doing too much volume, you might be doing too much fatigue, you might be doing too much or offering your body too much of a stimulus than it can recover from. So make sure that you're recovering properly. Gauge, always less is more when it comes to resistance training, because you can always do more the next session. You don't want to do too much and cause damage. So just take your time and always start with less intense and less volume, and then build from there. This jam is from YouTube, from Official CG79. What do you think of rowing machines, Papa Swolio? Rowing machines, I think, are great to practice your rowing. I have no problem with rowing machines. It's just like getting on a step mill to warm your body up. You can go on a rower and warm your upper body up, get your blood flowing. Some people really love their rowing machines. I just think it's a little bit more of a proactive cardio than just going on a treadmill or going for a run. I think people think they're doing more work because they're getting their upper body more involved. I don't think you need to do it as most CrossFit people do tons of rowing. A lot of these group exercise classes and people that try to do this interval type training do tons of rowing. I think that people need to stand up more. I do not recommend rowing unless you have a medical condition or you are doing it as part of a lot of mobility and other types of things. I'm not a big fan of bicycles. I'm not a fan of doing a lot of things sitting down. People need to get their body upright, expand, and just get their hips out of that flex position. So to be rounded forward, to be hunched over, to be in a seated position, I just think most people are in that position so much. To do that under duress and to do that for exercise, get up, walk, do something more upright. But for people that are really balanced, that have kind of all these different areas taken care of, I think rowing is fine. You could do it for cardio, do it for a warm-up. I think it's great. It's a nice combination of movements, but I really do think that people need to be more aware of their posture and what they're doing on an everyday basis, and not compound that with biking or rowing, that they should be doing stuff that, like yoga, for example, that really helps fix the repetitive movement patterns that they expose themselves to during an everyday basis, essentially. That leads flawlessly into the next question. This one's from Instagram, Roger L. Reynolds. Why the hell do CrossFitters brag about their damn destroyed, bleeding hands? There is this majesty that's associated with working hard, beating yourself up like a Viking. I went to war, I went to battle, I absolutely went into this workout and I crushed it. People are in their cages, they're in office buildings, they're stuck in traffic. People have a lot of rage. People naturally are a lot more savage, rough around the edges. We're just so polished and tame. We're zoo people. So to go to a gym and to do battle and to leave all banged up, it just feels like we have physical proof, I think, that we've accomplished something. And people use injury as a badge of honor. I mean, honestly, what else are you gonna do? You're gonna sit there and be like, oh my God, my hands, it hurts so much. You're gonna take it and fucking move on. I don't think your hands necessarily should be bleeding from exercise, but sometimes this type of training does. And if you're not doing it with proper form, or you're not conditioned for the exercise that you're doing, you didn't chalk up enough, you're doing a lot of friction exercises, hell, you can walk down the street and scrape your leg. But I do think everyone's trying to one-up the next person. It's really nice for an Instagram picture. Hey, look at my bleeding hand. And it makes you feel tough. It makes you feel like a warrior. But there are times to do that and times to be like, why the hell am I bleeding? Maybe I don't have good form. Maybe I did something wrong. Maybe I overdid it. Maybe I should be more careful, blah, blah, blah. So you're always going to have those idiots that think that just because they destroyed themselves or they feel exhausted, that they had a good workout, and other people that realize, that's not the best modality for consistent training. Because you bang yourself up like that, you're probably willing to sacrifice other things like shoulder pain or hip pain that can lead to something really drastic down the road. So just make sure that you are doing things as safely as possible. And, if something like that happens, shrug it off, get up, dust yourself off, and move on. But it's not necessarily something to brag about on social. Another juicy gem from YouTube, Mihaela. Ask Papa Swolio. Hello, I would like to know what your view is on sleep patterns since you mentioned how important sleep is. Do you believe you should sleep for 8 hours straight, or could you split up your sleep in 2 cycles? I would not recommend doing a 2-cycle sleep pattern. I'm assuming you mean kind of like a nap, like 4 hours and 4 hours. It's not just important how long you sleep, it's the quality of that sleep. Now, I'm no sleep expert, but I do know that I need to improve on my sleep and my consistency, and that 99% of people out there, 99% of you watching this, need help with your sleep as well. How much you get, the quality, and the consistency of it. So the human body is not meant to break it up into multiple cycles. I think naps are effective time to time, but you need to get quality, consistent, uninterrupted sleep. So we need to do better with blue light at night. We need to do better with eating before bed. We need to get better with consistent of sleep hours, like what time you go to sleep every night, to get on that circadian rhythm, because we have electricity all hours of the day and we can just turn on a light and just be awake longer. So we need to reset our bodies. We need to get back on a good rhythm. So it's good for our hormones. It'll decrease the stress hormones like cortisol. It'll make it easier to burn fat. It'll make it less likely we're retaining so much water and a lot of these things that people struggle with. So I personally would not recommend a 2 sleep cycle, however you're describing that, but something more along the lines of 6, 7, 8 or plus hours, depending on the person, consistent, quality, uninterrupted sleep. And that will do it for today's episode of Ask Papa Swolio, fam. Thank you so much. I am taking questions from Instagram, from Twitter, from YouTube, anywhere that you see a post referencing Ask Papa Swolio. Just drop your question in the comments below with the hashtag Ask Papa Swolio. Do so right now in the comments to be featured in an upcoming episode. Now, don't worry if you don't see your question in the next one immediately. I do go from other episodes and I will pick questions. So keep asking, keep thinking, keep figuring out what you want to ask me, and I'll do my best to answer it. And again, it's my opinion, it's my expertise, it's my experience, and I'm just trying to share what I do to help you make the most sick fucking gains. So thank you again, fam, for asking your questions. Drop it below with the hashtag AskPapaSwolio. Make sure to check all the links in the description to subscribe to the Daily Swole podcast, to check out Swolenormous X for programs, yoga, nutrition, and more. And I'll see you next time for the next episode of Ask Papa Swolio. Peace.
Click the link, motherfucker! Click the link! Click the link! Watch another video, like and subscribe. I know you want to. You know you want to. Come on, everyone knows you want to. You love Papa Swolio. You love the man bun. You love the sick fucking gains. You love it. Oh, oh, oh. You love it. Oh, 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 oh.